Karte, ote zola'u ne partet nemun. Welcome to the second episode in our lessons of learning about lì'fya affixes. Now, in the previous lesson, we learned about prefixes, suffixes, and infixes, the three types of affixes in the lì'fya language. So today, on this episode, we're going to learn about the infix positions in the lì'fya language. And lì'fya infixes have two positions in the words. And the first position is for tense and aspect of the word, past, future, present, and perfect and imperfect tense, aspect, sorry. And the second position of infixes is for speaker, effect, or judgment. We'll get onto that in a minute. It's a little more than what we should explain right now. So there's two positions, and they always come before a vowel in a syllable. So that's very important to remember. And they always come with either the last syllable or the second to last. So that'd be the ultimate and the penultimate syllable. So we're going to just do a quick lesson on lì'fya syllables, and I'm assuming you already know these already, so I'm just going to touch on it briefly. For further advice on breaking down lì'fya words into syllables, see the dictionary or the forum. There's a bunch of places to learn about syllable breakup. So, but generally it follows vowels, pseudo-vowels, and that sort of thing. So here's the lì'fya word taron, which means to hunt. And I think we're all familiar with this word. It's the most commonly used example, I believe. So it has two syllables, and we can immediately tell this because it has two vowels, a and o, taron. The first syllable, we'll break this down right here, the first syllable is right there, ta. And then the second syllable, ron, taron. And so, just for example, we'll just quickly show you where the positions would go. They go before the vowel in the last syllable and before the vowel in the second to last syllable. So there's only two syllables here. The second to last syllable is also the first syllable. So the first position would be right there. That'd be position number 1. And the second one, go right there. Taron. First position, second position. Alright. So, now that we've got that out of the way, let's just quickly review. This is probably the most important thing you can memorize right now, is the positions of lì'fya infixes. Because a lot of times, new speakers to the lì'fya language will have problems recognizing a word that's had an infix added to it. They might be quite familiar with taron, but what about tivaron? We've added an infix, iv, to the word taron. And this is a subjunctive form of to hunt. And a lot of new speakers will see that and they'll think it's a new word and they'll try to find it in the dictionary. And the problem is this word doesn't exist in the dictionary because it's not a root word. The root word is right... stupid marker. There we go. The root word's right there. We have taron. So this is really important to memorize where the infixes will go in a word. So if you see a word, you can go, oh hey, that is the second to last syllable right there, and I don't recognize these other letters before it, so they must be an infix. And then it also helps to know what the infixes look like, IV, ER, OL, AY, that sort of thing. Those will help you recognize when a verb has been modified with an infix. All right, so we've discussed where infixes go, They go before the vowel in the last or second to last syllable. And there's a couple small rules that I'm going to touch on here. Don't worry about memorizing them. If a infix goes before a pseudo vowel, such as LL or RR, RR being the rolled R, and LL being kind of the long form of L, you find this in you find R in parte, and what uses the L? Pute. Pute means to speak, and you find the double L there. And so if you add an infix with a similar letter, an R or an L, before that happens to come before these pseudo vowels, then there's some special rules about how they get pronounced, which we won't talk about here. But that's a good thing to know if you ever see that kind of a thing happening. You'll understand that there's a reason that some words don't obey all the rules for infixes. Okay, so let's do a quick exercise on finding the locations of infixes in words. And we're going to do words with 1, 2, and 3 syllables. And we'll show you I'll write the word down, and I'll break out the syllables, and then we'll show where the infix positions are. So the first word we're going to start with is the word whom, which is to leave or depart. So there's the word whom. This is a one-syllable word. You can see it's got one vowel, one syllable. So breaking it down into syllables is pretty easy. There's the syllable. And so since there's only one syllable, we have an interesting case where the second to last and last syllable are the only syllable. So this makes it really easy. So the infix positions are all right there. I'll go right before the U. So if we want to break this down just how it's shown in the dictionary, or some of the example text, such as the Na'VI in a Nutshell guide, we would write it like this. So you can see the first and second position are right before the UM in whom. All right, let's go on to a two-syllable word. And this is a special case in Na'VI. This is the word omum, which means to know. And it's unique because it starts with a vowel. So we have a case where we have a syllable with no consonants before the location of the first position. But aside from that, everything works normally. So there we have the word omum, which means to know. And you can see it's two syllables. We've got two vowels here. The first syllable is right here, and the second syllable is right here. So omum. Now, there's the two positions. We have the first position coming before the entire word. So it's, even though this is technically an infix, it acts like a prefix. It's coming before the word stem. However, it still follows all the same rules for an infix, and it should be considered an infix. And then the second position falls in the middle of the word, right before the U. So we have 1, 2. Let's do another two-syllable word, and this is going to be the word i'aun. I'aun. It means to stay or to remain. I want to stay here. So it's written like this. I'm doing it lowercase here just so we can see that that's a non-accented I. I think I pronounced that wrong. It's e-own. E-own. I was doing it. E-own. And so here we have another good thing to note. The I'm forgetting my terminology all of a sudden. The glottal stop mark is considered a consonant. So remember that when you go to put infixes in a word with glottal stops marked in it, that you have to remember to put it in between the vowel and the glottal stop. So we have two syllables here. We have the diphthong ow, which is a vowel, and we have the vowel I. So that breaks it up into the following syllables. So that's the two syllables. Notice that the syllable break is right here between the I and the glottal stop. I believe that's correct. So the two positions we're going to have in this word are right here and right here. Yes. No. Yeah, right there. So there's the two positions. Let me write this out in that expanded form we did for whom. So there we have e-own, e-own. First position, second position. Now, lastly, let's do a three-syllable word. And don't worry about anything beyond three syllables. Nothing changes because remember, it's always the ultimate and penultimate syllables, the second to last and the last syllable that we're concerned about. So you can have a 20-syllable word like meuniaea, and it still gets stuck in the penultimate and ultimate syllables. So the word we're going to do is emza'u, which means to pass a test. Congratulations, I passed my final exam today, which hopefully you all did. And so it's written like this. Emza'u, emza'u. Now the syllables are as follows. We have em-za-u. Em-za-u. Now so what we can see here is that since there's three syllables, we don't put anything out front because this is the first syllable, the third one. The second syllable, or what you can call it, the first syllable, second, third, whichever way you do it. So we have nothing out here. We have the second syllable, the second to last syllable. So we will see that our first position goes before the vowel in the second to last syllable, which is right there. Emza'u. And then, remember, it goes before the vowel in the last syllable. Right there. And that's all there is to it. So if we get a really complex word, like, it's blah, 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 and then there's a syllable here and a syllable here, you remember that it goes before the vowel in the second to last syllable and the last syllable. Pretty simple. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to move on to talking about tense and aspect before we get onto any more of the infixes. And this is where a lot of people get tripped up with the Na'vi language, because English lumps tense and aspect into these same suffixes. Ing, that we talked about before, conveys both present tense and the imperfect aspect. So we're going to talk about that in the next lesson.